Welcome to the Volunteer Youth Worker Podcast. Youth ministries rise and fall on the volunteers, so we are here to encourage and equip you. Join the conversation as we tackle the practical questions you are asking so you can help the next generation know Jesus.
Hey everyone, before we jump into today's conversation, I just want you to know that this episode originally aired back in May of 2021. It's a good conversation with a good friend of mine, Deniel, and thinking about camps, if you're listening to this conversation live, you're in the midst of the summertime. And for so many people, we found this when we did our renegotiating faith research, so many students have their lives impacted by volunteering at camp, going to a camp, attending camp, or being on staff at camp. And so finding ways to partner with camps this summer is something that's really worthwhile, no matter if you're a volunteer or point leader. And so we thought that it'd be a great time to get this conversation back into your feed, and so you can take a listen. I've got Deniel with me. Deniel,
Hey,
sometimes when I do conversations with people, I preemptively say like, hey, this is like my new friend, or this is my friend at ministry. And that's like sometimes just, this veneer of we all kind of know each other in ministry. But the truth is we are real people, real friends. We've been in the same room together.
Yeah.
We work together actually.
Yeah, you did. And then you abandoned us to go back to the East Coast for lobster. So I get it. I understand. Ontario wasn't good enough for you.
It is. Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, but yes, we work together at Connexus Church in Ontario, Barrie's, where the offices are. Is that where you're sitting today?
I am. I'm sitting in the office. It's pretty empty today because, everyone's working from home, but I want to have some good internet to have this podcast. So I'm here.
Oh, and we appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Why don't you fill people in what you're currently doing as a part of the Connexus team, but also, since we're talking about camps, would love to tell us a little bit as well about your work with summer camps.
Yeah, so currently I just actually moved over to this role mid-pandemic. So I'm the student ministry director at Connexus, and I am a camp lifer. I think that's a term, a lifer at camp.
Yeah.
I've been going to camp since I was 10 years old. So that's when I first started. I grew up in the inner city of Etobicoke, which is like kind of like central Toronto kind of area. So going to camp was like a big deal for me. But like I've been going to camp since I was 10. I went into their leadership, their internship program there, their LIT program, leadership and training program, when I was 16, and then became a leader. And then I joined the program team, and then I was on staff there for a couple years with their outdoor education program, teaching school groups about outdoor ed. So like I've been at camp for many years.
And is it always the same camp, right? Like you've been connected at one particular camp?
Always same camp, Ontario Pioneer Camp, which is one of the 9 camps University has, but it's located in Muskoka, in Port City. Fantastic camp. If you haven't checked it out, you need to. I'm going to put that plug right there.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm actually interested. We didn't go over this, but I know that you are a city guy and that you grew up obviously in the GTA, but in like the city part of Toronto, and you love that. Like you thrive in the city. Coming from like small town New Brunswick, I don't mind the city, but like it does make me a little bit anxious being there. So how does it work that you're like so passionate about being in the city, and yet you would spend so much of your time, especially in the summers, in like the woods?
It was like my escape from the city. And when I was a camper, I only went there for a week. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm going out to Muskoka for a week. Like this is like my woodsy adventurous side of me. I want to do some archery and canoeing, things that I wouldn't normally do in the city. But then over years, I fell in love with it. It was like a place where I had community. I looked forward to it every single summer. So then I started going there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then 2 months. So yeah, it just became a part of me.
That's so fascinating. And now you're a youth pastor, like you're in a local church doing youth ministry.
Yeah.
I would because I kind of know the story, but how did you end up working at a church? Like you got there through camp ministry, isn't that right? Did we poach you from the camp?
That's exactly what happened. A staff here at Connexus got got a message or a note saying that I was at camp leading program for the youngest kids at Pioneer Camp, which we call Adventure Camp. And Dave Easton, actually, he is a part of university doing high school ministry and he's connecting people, I guess. He gave a note to someone here at Connect saying, "Hey, I think this guy would be great for your ministry in children's ministry." And then 2 seconds later, I was interviewing and I was at Connexus. Like it was quick.
It was very quick. I remember that because I think we were doing one of our conferences at the time, and I think you got a chance to come and see that as part of the process, maybe early on.
Yeah, it was a vision night. It was a vision night.
Oh, vision night. That's right too.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was cool.
Amazing. Okay, so the interesting thing is what I love is you've got the perspective of somebody who cares deeply about camp ministry and was a camp person. Like you were a part of the team putting on program and the life change that happens in camp. Like you've seen that firsthand. And then now you're in this other role, which I think sometimes in the sweet spot of youth ministry, I would say like local ministries are like 9 months of the year during the school year. And then ideally teenagers end up at camp. And that becomes the other 3 months of the year that they get this intensive training and development and spiritual formation. So I would love for you just to maybe champion and ring the bell of like camp ministry and fill us in on what are some of the wins that you've seen. And then what I would love to afterwards, we're going to go to is talk about some of the things that we can be doing to prepare for this upcoming summer as youth workers generally. But let's start with like what happens at camp, because maybe there's a listener, it's a volunteer, they're in a local ministry somewhere and they kind of heard about like this camp thing happens and like kids disappear and then they come back. What actually goes on? What are the wins of camp ministry as it pertains to faith formation in adolescence?
Yeah, I would say life change happens at camp. And I am a big example of that, growing up in a low-income neighborhood, going to camp, falling in love with it, but not also falling in love with actually finding community there, kind of understanding who God is at camp. That was a big moment for me. And just being able to be immersed in people who are like-minded and were positive, that's one of the biggest things I've taken away from camp. But I've seen leaders come to camp with baggage from the year and just really break down their shell, like break down that hard layer, and just be vulnerable, be able to really connect with other leaders, with other campers. I've seen people take huge leaps of faith in either going on canoes, going on canoe trips, or just like even like worshiping with 100 other people, being a part of a skit. Camp really just challenges people to go outside of their comfort zone, to really allow them to love people that they didn't know they could love. Camp really makes being you easier, if that makes sense. You don't have to pretend you're someone else at camp. You can just be yourself. You can be a kid. You can have fun and just be there. People say that Disney is fun. Disney's the greatest place on earth. I've never been to Disney before, but I'd say camp is like second best. Like camp is the greatest place on earth for sure. Yeah.
Well, and it might be the better place for your spiritual development over the Disney parks. But
No, definitely, yeah.
I think we've looked at even research, or you look at some of the statistics, and it's wild. Like the amount of people that come to faith at camp is immense. It seems like the people that end up doing vocational ministry, primarily have connections at camp. Like if you surveyed people that are in like pastoral type roles, and then honestly, like lots of people that have had great experiences in their adolescent years with their own faith, camp is a critical part of that. So like, is there something about, is it just being out in the woods that does it, or what's the thing about it?
I would say that because you're immersed in just relationships, you're immersed in Christianity. There's no way for you to escape God's love at camp, I would say. You're going to experience it some way, somehow. You're going to have a moment to have that spiritual moment where you're going to meet God face to face in that time where you're in the woods or in a worship service or in a Bible study or just chilling by a tree with a guitar. Super, super basics, but it happens a lot at camp. People on the field with a guitar. It's just a place where God is everywhere you go. From doing activities on the lake to eating in the dining hall, God is everywhere. So like, there's no way for you to escape it. So there's a moment where you're gonna experience God some way, somehow. I think that's the cool part about camp.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, and I guess it makes sense. Like, so for people that are listening, we've looked at what keeps the faith going for adolescents post high school, and one of the major markers of people who after high school continue on within their faith journey are folks that went to camp. And man, there's again just something about that rich environment that roots your faith like almost nothing else. So I wonder, Deniel, if we think about there's so many different camps across the country. There's so many different Christian camps. There's likely one close by to everybody that's listening. At least in our country, we've got listeners from outside of Canada. So I don't know what Christian camping is like in Israel. We had a listener email me the other day from Israel.
Oh, that's cool.
That's amazing. So I actually don't know. So I apologize. But in particular around our country, there's these Christian camps all over the place. What is helpful for those of us that are small group leaders? We're volunteers in our ministry. We've got these students. We're coming towards the end of the school year. What can we do to either partner with the work that's going on at camps, or like, should we be supporting or trying to get our kids to go to camps? Like, what do you see from a camping perspective as being helpful from local ministries?
Yeah, I would say absolutely encourage kids and even your older kids to be a part of camp ministry some way, somehow. So often in our ministries, we end our time for youth ministry in June, and they have 2 months of just doing whatever they want. And sometimes students don't continue their faith in the summer. They do different things. They join different parts, they do whatever they want, basically. But I feel like camp is a place where they can continue to grow in their faith. And as a youth leader, there's so many ways you can connect with your campers or your students when they go to camp. Snail mail is the best thing ever. If you are a camper or a leader at camp, you want to get some mail, a care package, something from people back at home, back in your city. So make sure that you send some care packages to your students if they're at camp. Send them letters, and then when they come back after the summer, talk to them about their experience. Make them rave about make them talk about what they experienced, not only activity wise but also spiritual wise. And then when you hear that stuff, don't just brush it off. Like, see if you can take what they experienced it and bring it back to your normal day to day or week to week, whenever you meet with them. See how you can maybe incorporate their time within Bible study at camp, how you can incorporate that with your regular small group time. Think about, maybe they love to do archery. That's the time where they really met Jesus or really had experience with God. See if you can do that outside during the year with your small group. See if you can continue what they experience at camp in during the year. Because so often we hear the camp high, where it's like, oh my gosh, I met Jesus at camp. This is awesome. I love it. But then when they come back, they're like, ooh, like, I don't really see where God is, but God is omnipotent. He is everywhere, not just at camp. And we need to show them that God is with your youth group wherever you are. Another way you can do that is also during the summer, visit them if you can. If you can go up to wherever camp they're at, go there, visit them for the day, bring them food. They love food. So bring them food, and just make sure you are part of what's happening with them. Don't make it seem like there's two distant things. That's my biggest advice I can share.
Yeah, that's so interesting. What are some of like the questions that you would think would be helpful to process? So if we go to the end of the summer and somebody comes home, they were volunteering, they were working for the summer, whatever it might be. And obviously this isn't all of your small groups. So I know if you're listening, maybe you've got kids that stuck around and they worked a job at McDonald's, and like there's some spiritual things that happen at McDonald's too. I don't know if you've had the double Big Mac with bacon, but there's some spiritual things that can happen. So we don't want to belittle that, but if you have specific students that have been at camp, how do you process like that intense spiritual experience once they're back home? What are the questions you ask?
I think there's a basic one, just like, hey, like, what did you do at camp? And allow them to talk. So often we want to interrupt them. It's like, oh, like, tell me more. But just allow them to give you some verbal diarrhea and just talk off your ear for as long as you can allow them to talk your ear off. And then after they've said their piece, then dive deeper in. Ask, hey, like, how was your worship service? Like, what kind of music did you listen to? Oh, like, what books of the Bible did you read this summer? Ask them about their friends. Ask them about every single part of camp that you know of that you can get them talking. Because the more they talk, the more that it seems like you're interested in what they're saying. And the more of those little snippets you can take to continue during the year is the better. But my biggest thing is just, hey, ask them, hey, like, how was your summer? And then what did you do?
hmm I love that. What are the chances that it's appropriate to even try to connect with like this camp staff? So I think you mentioned Dave Easton. I think he's been a part of that InterVarsity Pioneer
Yeah.
team for a long time. So he probably knows like a number of the staff and kind of where they're at, even in their journey over the summer. Do you think it's appropriate as a small group leader to try and reach out or leverage your connections to find out, hey, how did like Johnny do at camp this summer? What are some ways that I can carry the ball, come September, or is that invasive? What do you think?
I would say if you have that connection, sure. If you have that relationship with people at camp, absolutely. But just make sure that you're open with your students about that. Be like, hey, I was talking with Dave, I was talking with Deniel at camp, and just seeing how you're doing. We don't want to make it seem like we're going behind their back or we're trying
Mm,
to like be a big brother to them. Like we're trying to help them on their journey,
mm.
and not trying to kind of be suspicious and,
Right.
and
Yeah.
move them into a direction just because of some back information we heard.
Yeah. Yeah. Did they clean their room at camp? Like
Yeah.
that's not the question, but I wonder, like, as a somebody that's worked at camp before, like how valuable would it be if you knew where you were sending your team when they go back home? Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm sending this kid back to his home church in, Orillia, Ontario, and here's a small group leader. And it is like it's passing the baton sounds weird because it's a human being, it's not a baton, but there's something about like that spiritual mentorship that, it was so rich in the summer, and then it continues on through the relationship with their local person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a big deal. So often, I think campers or students make such big strides in just 1 week where they come to camp and maybe they aren't as close to God as we hope they would be by the end. Like they are fully immersed in understanding who God is and wanting to be in a relationship with Him. And so it's so hard for some leaders to be like, okay, they're leaving this week to go into God knows what. And it's awesome. It would be amazing to know that actually, they have a community back at home, a local church they're a part of, that they're going to continue this journey and be helped to be guided on this journey with them. So I would say one of the big parts is maybe just if you can send a letter. I said that before. I would say it again. Send a letter to their cabin leader or to them. Make it known that you are a part of their life.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that so much. Okay, so your advice. So at the end of the season in September, we got to set notes. If we know we've got kids that went to camp, let's make sure that we actually ask them or spark a conversation with them. And sometimes, depending on the camp, there's actually like some time in between when school starts. Like you're not necessarily all the time coming right back at Labor Day and then boom into school. So you might get like some extra time to take the kid out, have a conversation about, hey, what did God teach you through the summer? I like the ideas throughout the summer, if you can, as a small group leader. Some ministries shut down over the summer. So this might be just something you do on your own initiative, is to find out who from your small group, like where they're going in the summertime. And then if they're at a camp, as example, make sure to reach out to the other kids too. Like if they are making Big Macs, drop by and buy one and charge it to your ministry budget. Cause that's good ministry and celebrate them for that. Okay. And then Deniel, last thing, let's give people some thoughts here now as we're coming into the camp season. People probably have their summer plans already sorted. So as much as we want to champion camp ministry as a good thing, there may not be many opportunities now to convince somebody to do it if they haven't already decided. But what are some ways that you would say are good? Like, what are some good ways to tee up what God's going to do this summer in the lives of our students? What kind of conversations should we be having?
That's a good question, Jared. I would say start talking about camp now, and start getting excited for camp. Start getting them talking about what they're excited for when they are going to camp. And then if you are able to, start maybe a little Bible study that they're going to maybe take with them, give them some habits that they can do while they're at camp to continue reading their Bible or praying or anything that they could do to continue their spiritual development. Because we want that to continue when they leave camp also. So if you can start before camp, they can do it during camp, and when they come home from camp, that'd be beautiful.
Oh, I love that so much. So even thinking about like, okay, summertime, you've got your small group. Even if you're not meeting regularly, people are going in different directions. I mean, a lot of us have used technology anyways as the primary means of connecting. So keep the group chat going, do a shared Bible reading plan through the summer, and no matter where kids end up, and so that communication happens even through the summer months. And like, gosh, I know we've been pumping camp, but like the truth is that the kids that are sticking around in town, they might have an incredible God experience too. But wouldn't it be great if, as a small group leader, we care deeply enough to actually, cue that up or ask them questions about that, or be ready to field conversations if a kid is experiencing that kind of thing too. So, okay, man, I love this so much. This is so helpful thinking about this summer and what we can do. Any kind of final words of wisdom as we think about this partnership, caring for the faith of adolescents between local ministries and camp ministries this summer? Give us your final words of wisdom.
Yeah, so I didn't mention this earlier, but hey, if you are a youth worker or a youth pastor, you're listening to this, there are camps that do amazing work during the year also. For youth retreats, Ontario Pioneer Camp does a thing called Radiate, where they really target small churches. So if you are a small church and you can't do a youth retreat by yourself, they put everything on. So they get the speaker, the band, programming, they do all the works. It happens usually in the winter time. And it's a place where you can just go and invest with your kids and be with your kids and not have to worry about programming. But I would say, try to do things with your students with camps during the year. Camp isn't just in the summer, it's year round. So make sure that you are connecting with them at some point, during the year.
Well, knowing the team at the university camps and even all these other camps too, like there's just such a strong commitment and affinity to the same mission that we're called to as youth workers. Like they're on the same team as us. And sometimes if you are, like I said, a volunteer, somebody who maybe this isn't your vocation, you may not realize how many organizations are wanting to support the work that you're doing and partner with you so that it doesn't have to be that you're out on your own in any way, shape, or form, but instead you've got all of these extra tools or places that you can partner with and connect with. So I love that so much. And certainly if people don't know, hey, if they're in a part of the country and they don't know a camp that's around them, just send us a note. We'll put our website in the show notes is youthministry.team, and you can drop us a note. We'll find you somebody locally. And there's probably an university camp locally, but there's also some other great camps nearby too, I'm sure. So sweet, man. Thank you so much for your time, Deniel. It's always great to chat with you. And really appreciate you coming on and championing a little bit of camp ministry for us all.
Sweet. Hey, no worries. This is fun. I love talking camp and ministry, so it's great.
All right, there you have it. And we'll be back next week for another conversation here on the Volunteer Youth Worker Podcast.